Okay, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting of November 14th to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for joining us on this cool fall evening. I think we're all definitely feeling the holiday season coming upon us with the weather that's presented itself here lately. Let's go ahead and start with roll call.
Brunig.
Here.
Maibaum.
Present.
Schramm.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Villanueva.
Present.
Mayor Mosier.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherter. Here.
Number 2 under routine business is to approve the minutes of the work session meeting of October 24th, 2022, and the regular meeting of October 24th, 2022. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on either set of minutes? Anybody in the public? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Anybody abstaining? All right, moving on. In routine business is the schedule of bills. What is your pleasure?
Move that we pay the bills.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the bills? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Brunig.
Aye.
Maibaum.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Mayor Mosier.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 4 under routine business is a proclamation in front of us tonight about Giving Tuesday. And it says, whereas Giving Tuesday was established as a national day of giving on the Tuesday following Thanksgiving, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a celebration of philanthropy and volunteerism where people give whatever they are able to give, and whereas Giving Tuesday is a day where citizens work together to share commitments, rally for favorite causes, build a stronger community, and think about other people, and whereas it is fitting and proper on Giving Tuesday and on every day to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community service in the city of Yankton, South Dakota. And whereas Giving Tuesday is an opportunity to encourage citizens to serve others throughout this holiday season and during other times of the year. Now therefore I, Stephanie Mosier, Mayor of the city of Yankton, South Dakota, do hereby proclaim November 29, 2022 as Giving Tuesday in the city of Yankton, South Dakota, and encourage all citizens to join together to give back to the community in any way that is personally meaningful. So give that to, yep, we'll take that back unless somebody wants to accept it tonight.
I thought Charlie was going to accept it.
Well, Charlie is a giver, but I'm not sure that's his purpose here tonight. All right. So again, would just encourage those to give in any means that they are able and comfortable to on the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Always important during the holiday season to think about others and support others. Very meaningful. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to City Manager Leon to give the City Manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Commission, members of the public. Our mission is to provide exemplary experiences, services, and spaces that create opportunities for everyone to learn, engage, and thrive. I have quite a little list here for you because there's a lot that's going to happen in the next few weeks with the holidays coming up and lots of things to talk about. So in my family, when we have things that don't always go so well, we say, eat the frog first. So let's talk about the things that you and the public need to know about first that we're looking at deeper, talking about, et cetera. First, I want to bring up the discussion that's happening at a statewide level about food tax. So many of you probably are aware, and I have talked to the Press and Dakotan already about this, that there's some discussion about removing the sales tax on food. And I don't know how the commission stands on that or how you personally stand and feel on that. We haven't talked about it, and that's exactly what I told the Press and Dakotan. What I'm going to have staff work on is to do a little more digging and drill down on perhaps a number that we can talk about as an estimate of what we think the impact would be on our budget if cities were included in a potential exemption of food sales tax, but it would be in the hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million. That's general fund. So, it's not an immediate thing, but it's a big enough thing that we need to talk about that, consider it, have discussions, have conversations in the community. I don't know that we'll be asked to take a position, but certainly, if there's an opportunity to have discussions, or there could be an opportunity to have cities make the decision for themselves or counties make their decisions for themselves. So we'll need to talk about that at length. So I just want everyone to be aware of that conversations happening. And I'll get some estimates. Yankton is fortunate that we are a draw for food, groceries. And that might change if the structure of the, sales tax changes. Maybe it's, if there isn't sales tax, you just as well drive up to a bigger market and do all of your shopping, which is certainly not what we want to see happen. So that's weighing heavily, I think, on many of our minds right now. The other topic I want to talk about is the West Side Park Pond, and I have let Doug Ekron and our other folks at Avera know about this, but we have started to fill the pond, as you know, and didn't seem like it was filling the way it needed to, and we had to stop filling for doing a sidewalk project, and the pond went down significantly in a short amount of time. So our staff noticed that occurred and just said, geez, that doesn't seem right. So we've reached out to Stockwell engineers, and they're going to monitor it this week and take a look at the design and give us some recommendations and get to the bottom of what's happening. But I just felt like it was fair to let everybody in the public know about that, because I'm sure you're going to get questions about that, why that is. The other item that's been talked about with West Side Park is a railing around the island, and we had not included that in the design, nor did Stockwell. We're not entirely sure that that's something that's going to be beneficial. I think that first we need to make sure that we've got the pond functioning as we'd like it to. There might be something, if there's a design change with that we can remedy how that slopes into the pond itself from the island, or perhaps look at a rail or some other kind of design feature. So those comments are being heard, I guess is my message tonight to people that are making them. But we want to make sure we have the best possible project, and we know our friends at Stockwell will help us get there. So not really sure what's happening there. We're going to continue moving forward with our work on the well, because we know that eventually that's going to be necessary. So we're not going to stop that portion of the project. We're going to continue with that. But just wanted to be clear and upfront with everyone on that. And I think those are all the frogs. So want to talk a little bit about things coming up. I visited with Todd Larson and the mayor about the Summit Activities Task Force. I think the mayor has those people in line in terms of who she would like to pick to serve on that board. So we're going to name those people on our next meeting, 11/28, and look for the commission approval on that. And then we'll start planning the task force meetings coming up there. We did send a blurb out in the utility bill for folks interested in serving on the Meridian Bridge 100th year celebration committee. We've had just a couple people respond to that, so we'll continue to promote that as well, something people are interested in. We have Thanksgiving coming up. City offices are closed Thursday and Friday to observe Thanksgiving. There is a special garbage, solid waste, and recycling schedule that will be posted, and you'll hear about. I don't know exactly off the top of my head on the route dates, so I don't want to say them out loud, but please check on that so we can make sure we get folks' garbage and recycling taken care of. I have a work session on your consent calendar, but I'm respectfully asking that we actually cancel that and not conduct that solely because we have just a short amount of time with a 3-day week to get the next packet ready, and it's going to be as hearty and healthy as this packet is, and so I just don't feel like I have any meaningful time to put together a work session topic. So I don't have one in mind or thought of, but if there's something that you all want to talk about and direct me to put together, I'll certainly do that. I just think that for this month, with the way the calendar falls, it's going to be tough for us to put something together. So you can talk about that. City Christmas party is Friday, December the 2nd. You have until the 18th of this month to RSVP to Colleen Bailey on that. So if you can make it, we are talking about a quorum potentially on your consent calendar for that, but of course we won't be taking any official action. I think, Mayor, that's all I have, but I'm happy to answer. I'll ask some questions too, but I'm happy to answer them if people have questions or want some clarification on anything.
I guess as long as you don't answer a question with a question, then probably be fine. Yeah, I'm just teasing. Is there anybody up here tonight that feels we have to have the work session on the 28th? Okay. Any other questions for the city manager? All right, seeing no mics, move on. We'll move down to public appearances. Now's the time and place for those in the public who want to appear in front of the city commission tonight on something not on the agenda. Please step to the podium. All right, seeing no movement, then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Number 1 is a possible quorum event on November 30th, 2022 at 1:30 p.m. for the drug DUI court graduation at the Yankton County Safety Center, Courtroom A. No official commission action will take place. Number 2 is a possible quorum event on December 2nd, 2022 for the City of Yankton Christmas Party. No official commission action will take place. Number 3 is to establish November 28th, 2022 as the date for a public hearing on the request for a special events on sale liquor license for one day, December 2nd, 2022 from Stripes Inc., doing business as Mojo's 3rd Street, located at 106 East 3rd Street, here in Yankton for an event at the Meridian venue, which is located at 101 East 3rd Street. And number 4 is to establish November 28, 2022 as the date for a public hearing on the request for a special events retail on sale liquor license for one day, December 10th, 2022 from the VFW located at 209 Cedar Street for an event at the Meridian venue located at 101 East 3rd Street. And as previously mentioned, then number 5 is scrapped from the consent agenda. What is your pleasure?
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. And anybody abstaining? All right, consent agenda passed. Moving on to old business. Number 1 is consideration of memorandum 22-222 and resolution 22-54 regarding the second reading and a public hearing to consider Dakota Street assessment. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this agenda item? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2 under old business, consideration of memorandum 22-211 regarding the request for a special events malt beverage on sale retailer's license for one day, December 17, 2022, from the Center. Chris Thury, Executive Director, located at 900 Whiting Drive. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this agenda item? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 3 is consideration of memorandum 22-212 regarding the request for a special events malt beverage on sale retailer's license for one day, December 31st, 2022 from the Center. Chris Thury, Executive Director at 900 Whiting Drive. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on this agenda item? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. And number 4 under old business is consideration of memorandum 22-213 regarding the request for a public hearing and renewal of alcohol beverage licenses for 2023, which is the dates of January 1, 2023 to December 31st, 2023 licensing period. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. I'm assuming the businesses listed on this have no issues and are good to move forward. Yes? Okay. Al is shaking his head yes, for those of you that can't hear the rocks moving. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist, Al, to get a good joke in. All right. Any other commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Moving on to new business on the agenda. Number 1 is consideration of memorandum 22-223 regarding a final project acceptance and final payment for Jacqueline Drive and Joe Lane water main replacement project. Let's see, this is in the amount of $77,732.50 to Feimer Construction. What is your pleasure?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2 under new business is consideration of memorandum 22-208 regarding an agreement between the city of Yankton area, between the city and Yankton Area Senior Citizens Center. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion?
Any particular reason why we do this on an annual basis with the folks at the center?
There may be a reason. If there is, I don't know that, what that would be, the understanding. It's always been done annually since I've been around, but maybe that's in case conditions change. But I can certainly make a inquiry with Dave Mingo and with the center if there's interest in trying to do a multi-year lease. Is that what you're thinking?
Yep, would make sense to me. I think they've more than proven that they are good stewards of the building itself and that they're certainly a service to the community. So I'm not sure if this formality is necessary on an annual basis or not. I think it's useful to review the terms in the contract from time to time for sure, but it seems kind of silly at this point with them to do annual.
I'll take it up with Dave Mingo and get you an answer back.
Are you good with moving forward tonight, though, with it on the agenda item? Are you looking for future then?
Yep.
Perfect. Any other commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Number 3 is consideration of memorandum 22-206 regarding the mower purchase for the Parks and Recreation Department. This is for a Toro Proline H800 direct collect mower for $39,554. This item has been, is in the budget. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunick.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Mayor Mosher.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4, under new business, is consideration of memorandum 22-209 regarding the legal services with BBG Construction Law for the wastewater treatment plant CMAR project in the amount of $10,000 retainer fee. Before I ask for a motion, I'll probably ask City Manager Leone or Kyle to walk us through this. Since this is a new process for all of us, I just kind of want to have a little bit of a walkthrough on what this entails.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Commission. I mean, like you said, this is a new process for us, so Ross has been heavily involved with this also. We talked to several different legal counsels. We kind of came to this one based on kind of their services and their reputation for the hours they have on a project. Again, they'll be looking at the legal aspects. The first thing they'll probably look at is a contract that we would be putting together with HDR. Then they would look at the procurement documents and contract for the CMAR. And then they would also look at our procurement for our work projects that would come out as the phases within the project. So that's really what we're looking at. Again, it's more of an advisory role to what we're at. They are located in Denver. When you look at CMAR, there's not a lot of CMAR experience here in South Dakota, so we really ended up looking outside the state for some of these things. But again, Ross, looks like you have something to add there. Otherwise, that's...
Having interviewed a number of these lawyers, what I liked is this guy has an enormous amount of experience specifically helping municipalities, specifically in large water districts, do their first CMAR project to familiarize themselves with the process. They've got a lot of he's got a lot of experience, essentially more or less training the teams to do these right. The fact that he's not in South Dakota does not prevent his ability to help us if there's a problem. He can, we call it pro hoc vice, or he can be essentially vouched for by a licensed attorney in South Dakota if there was need for him to litigate here. His rates, considering how highly recommended this guy was, his rates were more competitive than other recommended attorneys that we interviewed, and just all around seemed like he knew what he was talking about, was direct and to the point. He didn't waste time. He just really impressed me, and I interviewed a number of lawyers that all were highly recommended. He was my top pick.
And the firm does have some experience in South Dakota. They've done some construction law in South Dakota, so this won't be their first go-around in South Dakota either.
So when we look at what's in the packet, they have a standard rate and then a discounted rate. What's with the two rates? Are we eligible for the discounted rate, and that's what's
Yes,
included? Okay.
that's correct. So basically, government entities is what that second column is.
Okay.
And the local areas were Sioux Falls. What was another one where they've done CMAR?
So in the water and wastewater industry, they've done CMAR projects. They completed a project in Sturgis and Harrisburg.
Harrisburg, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
And then currently, there's a project in
enough.
Pierre, the Pierre Water Plant, and then the wastewater plant project in Sioux Falls. But there's several more just got approved. I know Hartford, South Dakota just got going on one. They just started a CMAR project and got their CMAR on board. So there's probably 5 or 6 are going to go here in this next year
Right, because of
because of the way the funding and everything.
the funding, absolutely.
Ross, quick question. So looking at this schedule of billing rates, so is it Henry Bangert that'll be doing all of the legal?
When I asked him that, he said, most of the work
Okay.
I will be doing, but he said that he's got a protege that he's got working with him that will be doing some of the work, but that will result in a little bit of savings for
Yep.
us too.
Okay, thank you.
All right, appreciate you walking us through that. Probably you might as well just stay there. Thank you. If there's no other initial questions on behalf of the commission, I would ask, what's your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further commission discussion now that we have a motion and a second?
So then, just out of curiosity, Ross, so the gentleman that we're talking about here and their firm, so they're not part of the bar here in South Dakota, but have they, aside from being involved in projects, have they ever had the occurrence of having to show up in front of a judge because of?
Yes, yeah,
And
he's,
there has been no issue. Every judge has been okay with that with their with our local?
Yeah, the process of pro hoc vice is actually fairly common. I've vouched for outside attorneys before, so I know how to use that process if we had to bring him in to help. But I anticipate, because he's involved and because presumably Tegra will be involved, that there shouldn't be any need for that. That should go smooth. But it's good to know that if there was a problem, he could come in and stand behind the contract that he helped us prepare.
I noticed this is for a retainer. Do we have an idea on amount of total money that might be spent on this, or is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Another reason that I like this gentleman is he said that since it's an hourly rate, the total cost will depend upon how much, quote, hand-holding the city will need throughout the process. And he said, I fully expect, based on what you've shared with me, you won't need the maximum. But he said, in his experience, total service across the board, we can anticipate a top cost of around $35,000, which is about a third of some of the estimates that I received in talking with some of the other recommended attorneys.
Are we able to use the $10,000 retainer out of the money we're applying for or getting from grants, et cetera, that we have so much time to use?
Don't quote me on this, but I do not believe we would be able to use SRF or the ARPA funds for legal services. I would have to check, but I don't think so. So.
Other commission questions, discussion?
I do want to just point out that I appreciate city staff. We have smart people at the city staff's willingness to reach out for expert opinions on things that are brand new, such as this or the medicinal marijuana last year. I think it shows that we are willing to set ourselves out for a successful implementation of some sort of project by using, and it costs money, but well-spent money in my mind.
Anybody else in the commission? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Bruning.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Schram.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 5 under new business is consideration of memorandum 22-210 regarding a contract application with Tegra Consulting for owner representation for CMAR. And in the proposal tonight is up to $10,000. Again, before I ask for motion, I'll ask Kyle to kind of just walk us through this and as it's tied to the project.
Yep, so as we talked to other cities who have done these CMAR projects, one of the things they've talked about is an owner's rep. And really what an owner's rep comes in and does is kind of tries to help guide us on the business end, not so much on the legal end, but on the business end of how we approach these, whether it's the contract with HDR, again, they'll review those procurement documents and how we do that. I think the biggest thing that they bring to the table is really they want to really make sure that we thoroughly outline their responsibilities, whether it's the owner's responsibility, HDR responsibility as a consultant, or the CMAR. So they're going to be more on the business end and making sure we keep things clean from the beginning. So they'll be reviewing those contracts, reviewing those procurement documents. There won't be a lot of project management on their end. It'll be more of that, again, just kind of going through our documents and making sure we have those responsibilities highlighted and defined properly so that as we get through this project, we don't have litigation at the end and things like that. So we've reached out to a few other ones, but Dick Strasburg has worked in several projects in Sioux Falls, came highly recommended from Watertown. He's just got a good personality. I think he's going to bring a lot to the collaborative team. So with this and with the legal counsel, I think we're putting together a very good team, combine that with HDR to have a successful project for our first CMAR project. So
I'd like to add that I've spoken with regional local CMAR contractors that have worked with Dick and found him to be a very good guy to work with from the perspective of contractors as well as the recommendations from the city of Sioux Falls and Watertown. So
Yeah.
that's a really good sign.
I had another contractor in the office today that had nothing but good things to say about how Tegra does business and how what they bring as an owner's rep to keep that collaborative design without kind of throwing wrenches in it. So, like I said, I think it'll be a really good team moving forward.
So just to clarify, he's not overseeing construction per se, methods, materials, he's just technically a business?
Yeah, particularly on the business. He'll be, like I said, reviewing the HDR contract. He'll be reviewing our procurement documents, how we put those together. Again, he'll review that contract with the CMAR. And again, really gets to define those responsibilities. And then he'll be overviewing probably our first 2 or 3 little bid packages that we put out to begin, make sure that we're going through a proper procurement process and doing it correctly. And again, the main thing is we don't want to jeopardize our funding. We want to make sure we're doing everything legal and correctly.
So with the dollar amount at not to exceed 10,000, what we're really talking about then is probably 20 to 30 hours of their time. You feel that's going to be appropriate, given the scope of our project?
We had a really good, what did we probably spend 2 hours conversation with them, kind of where our background was at, where we were at with HDR, and he was confident that not to exceed 10,000 was more than sufficient based on where we were at with the project, where our engineer was at. So we think that's sufficient, yes.
The trade-off here too is some of the services that he provides are also services that the engineer can provide. And in this particular context, particularly the contract implementation is going to be handled by the engineer. So we don't have to pay him for the full slate of their services, just what we use of them, and that rate should be quite reasonable.
All right, thank you for walking us through that. Stay put. There might be other questions, because I'm going to ask, having that explanation in front of us on what's in the packet tonight, what is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Are there any additional commission questions or discussion now that we have a motion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Brunick,
Aye.
Mybom,
Aye.
Schramm,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 6 under new business is consideration of memorandum 22-214, recommending approval of resolution 22-59, confirming the acceptance of a permanent right-of-way and utility easement and a storm water drainage and management easement from the state of South Dakota associated with the Meads Addition and Soccer Complex area. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on this?
Looking at the documents from Stockwell, and I certainly may have missed this, but has it already gone through the formal motions that we'll end up having a First Dakota Drive here? Has that naming already been, sorry, I'll let Adam answer that.
Would you like to answer that question?
Sorry.
It doesn't make any difference to me. I thought your mic wasn't working. Sorry. Formally, I don't believe the engineering's done yet, so no, but informally, yes, is the best answer I can provide, unless Adam can provide you a better one. So we still need all the engineering done, but we have worked with the Soccer Association, and they've made their announcement. They talked with us before if that would be acceptable and appropriate. So, of course, we told them everything hinges on, the commission's approval of completion of the site design and all those types of things. But so informally, yes, it's done, but until it's all designed and accepted, it's not really that's not really the name. So you'll be driving on it before probably it's formally approved.
Any other commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Brunick,
Aye.
Mybom,
Aye.
Schramm,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 7 is consideration of memorandum 22-218 regarding the consultant for engineering services at the Chan Gurney Municipal Airport. In your packet tonight is selecting KLJ as engineering and planning consultant. This is for 5 years. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there commission discussion?
I have a question for Adam. So all the board members got their packets back to you in time?
Yes, they did.
And for those who didn't get
The
them in
selection
time, I'm sure
committee
they
members.
appreciated the extra couple days. Like me.
Any other commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Mybom,
Aye.
Schramm,
Aye.
Weber,
Aye.
Villanueva,
Aye.
Brunig,
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. And number 8, under new business, is consideration of memorandum 22-219 regarding a bid award for the Marn Creek to Fenton Construction of Sioux City, Iowa, who turned in the low bid. Let's see here, budgeted at $4,059,654.93, which is over the engineering bid, but we have it accounted for, we budgeted $4 million, and then the other $59,654.93 could be covered under the 506. If approved tonight, what is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion?
So if I'm reading this correctly, the city's share of the total project cost is 15%. And is that where that 59,000 is coming from?
No.
So in the 2022 and 2023 budgets, there's total of $4 million budgeted for this project. $59,654.93 is the overage of that $4 million that's budgeted.
So we're 15% of the entire cost. There is a possibility that we, might be able to access, 85% of that overage, but we just don't know yet. That'll depend upon FEMA. But if we can't manage that, we'd still recommend that the commission approve. I'm surprised that this is as close to our estimate as it is, given what we've seen lately in the bidding market. So I think this is a good bid, and that's why we recommend the approval.
Well, it's a $500,000 difference, so I suppose we can still be excited about that, given it's $4 million plus. But can you tell us a little bit about where the differences were in the engineering estimates and what we're seeing, where the added costs are going to be?
I know Kyle can't, or Kyle probably could too, but Adam can. I think concrete is a big unknown and has gone up quite a bit since we started planning the project, but Adam, I'll let you.
Yeah, and first off, this project's unique in itself. Just trying to determine, get good estimates on any part of it. There's a lot of riprap, there's a lot of natural stone. The plantings, the riparian plantings were a big item that was different than in the engineer's estimate. That's one that I can recall that's a big difference, was the riparian plantings, and those are an environmental part of the restabilization of those banks.
So that falls under the grading category, or which category specifically?
Are you looking at a specific sheet?
What Banner had provided, the breakdown of the.
You're talking about the contractors?
So the list of contractors, that's just people that were interested in the project, a plan holders list more or less. That's not a specific, these are the people doing the work. These are just plan holders that were interested in bidding the project.
The work that you were talking about, that you're seeing the bigger cost increases though, is that
That's a land-
categorized as grading?
It's a landscaping portion of the project.
Okay. So is it fair to assume, though, that the only folks involved in that component are probably this Holstein Excavating out of Minnesota?
No, not necessarily. Just because they're not on the list doesn't mean they weren't a subcontractor looking to subcontract under a prime bidder or a general contractor. So they don't have to necessarily be on this list.
Adam, I had a question. So as this bid, is this to put back what was, or is this to identify problem areas and build better than? Like, I hope we never have that flooding like we did then, but if we were to, is this better than?
This should be considered as better than.
Okay.
Yes, so essentially there's 5 locations that we call damaged areas. They're identified as reaches in the project, but there's 5 reaches, varying in size. Obviously, the largest reach damage area is the south of 4th Street, between the Missouri River and 4th Street, and then north of 4th Street going to A Street, and then there's an area by Webster School, further north by the 10th and Lynn area, up by the Yankton Mall. So those are all identified in this project, and yes, they'll repair those banks to hopefully withstand an event like that if it did happen again.
Okay, thank you.
It also includes trail replacement. Anywhere that trail was compromised or damaged, there will be trail replaced at those locations, not necessarily in the exact same location, but there will be trail at those locations.
Yeah, some of those trails would have to be, would have to levitate for that to occur.
That would be kind of cool. Probably more expensive, though.
Cool. So at $59,654.93, we're at 1.5% is the math that I did on that. If $4 million, $60,000 of that that ends up being about how much we're over. I think that's,
Sounds right. I didn't do the math.
in today's day and age, I think that's something we should go with.
I would agree with you. I'm curious, I'm just trying to remember the timeline. When did the bid or the estimate get submitted to FEMA? How long ago?
Which estimate?
Yeah,
see.
we've
And
gone,
that's, I
the
guess,
project's changed as well,
Right.
so when you do these projects, we work with their engineer, it has to go to FEMA for the regional office, and then it goes to the national office, and sometimes at either level there's changes, so we've gone through a couple iterations, which is part of the reason, the time frame. And we were frustrated, I was frustrated throughout the project, because for a while, there wasn't a lot of feedback, during COVID from federal agencies, and I felt like we were losing time, i.e. dollars, but.
Yeah. And I just want the public, and I think, to understand that the process dealing with FEMA is slow. And so to only be 5% essentially over our budget is very good. Or 1.5, excuse me, 1.5 is really good, but it's, the engineer's estimate is only so good for so long. It's hard to predict. So I think this is all good. It's just, I don't want the public perception to be that the engineer was way off and we're going to have to pay more, even though FEMA could have provided more money if the timeline would have been condensed.
Yes, so we've been working on this since 2019. We got the first obligation of money was for engineering funds. That was in April of 2020. Been working since then to develop a scope of work, to develop a project. Been looking at numbers the whole time. In putting these estimates together in the current project, we used a lot of 2019 numbers that were prorated to today's numbers, 2020 numbers. We used weighted averages from South Dakota Department of Transportation as those numbers came in over the years and tried to put them into today's dollars. It felt like a lot of converting apples to oranges in that process. Banner Engineering did a really good job of putting an estimate together for today's number, I feel. It's just the market we're in right now, and FEMA's busy as well, with everything from pandemic, hurricanes. they have a lot of disasters all over the place that they're working with continuously. And they were good to work with through the whole process. It's just a timely process, so.
It seems like this wasn't, it was a long, long time ago that the flooding happened. It really wasn't that long ago, but I know the people I've heard from, it has always been in the back of their mind, when can we get these trails back? When can we get this system back functioning? And it's exciting to see that this is getting closer. So thank you for your hard work on this, everyone at the city staff.
For what it's worth too, there was a lot of environmental consideration put into this, so it's not just rock going back along the bank. It's aesthetically and environmentally friendly as well, so.
Thanks for all your work, your staff's work, appreciate it.
All right, any other commission discussion related to this motion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 5 on the agenda is other business, and there is no other business in front of the city commission tonight. So with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss contractual litigation and personnel matters under SDCL 1-25-2.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And anybody abstaining? We are adjourned into executive session. Have a good evening, folks.